بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. أهلا وسهلا ومرحبا بكم. هيا بنا إلى الدرس. الوحدة الثانية second unit. الأسرة the family. Here if we see that a noun carries al, so whenever there is an indefinite noun, when we add al to that, it becomes definite noun and it will be translated as the family. الوحدة الثانية الأسرة, and now we can see over here that it consists of, like, it starts from lesson number 10, continues up to all the way lesson number 18. In the previous unit, we have learned like from lesson number 1 to 9, and then we continue now from lesson number 10. And by the end of these 2 units, we will have an exam where you have to examine yourself. Before we proceed to the lesson, we have something very important here, pronouns al-damair. And the pronouns are really important when we start learning any language, because, the pronouns change a lot and they can be used alternatively. So it's difficult sometimes, and we like kind of mix them up. So if we learn the pronouns from the beginning, it will be way easier for us towards the end of the course or throughout the course to learn this, quite easily. So there are 2 types of pronouns. We have damirun munfasilun, that is called detached pronouns, or you can say independent pronoun. And then we have damirun muttasilun, that is attached pronoun. Now, if you remember in lesson number 1, we have learned about anta and ka. For example, anta bilalun, you are in fact Bilal. Hada kitabuka, this is your book. So now we can see here that when we say ka, this is used for possession. So why do we need to use the attached pronouns? We use the attached pronoun when we talk about the possession of something, when we own something. Similarly, we have learned about ana. For example, ana Aishatu or ana Bilalun. And then when you want to say that something belongs to you, for example, you want to say my, so you will say hada kitabi, this is my book. And similarly, we have learned about anti, and we have seen that after anti we say hada kitabuki. So when we use ki with kasra, that becomes your for the feminine. And in today's lesson, we are going to learn about huwa. We have learned huwa already, and the attached pronoun that we use for huwa is hu. For example, we say huwa bilalun, hada kitabuhu, this is his book. So you can make a table like this, and on the right side you can write the detached pronouns, and on the left side you can write attached pronouns, and you can prepare your own list. For example, anta, and the attached pronoun will be ka. And similarly, we have learned anti, and you know that the attached pronoun for anti will be ki. And we have learned that already. For example, kaifa haluki. And ana, and for ana, we use only one attached pronoun, that is ya, and you say my, for example, kitabi. And huwa, for huwa, the attached pronoun is hu. For example, we say huwa bilalun, he is Bilal. Hada kitabuhu, this is his book. So ka, ki, ya, and who. الحوار الأول, dialogue 1. انظر واستمع وأعيد. As you know, the first time I would like you to repeat with me so that you get used to the idea of reading the Arabic language, and then we will look at the translation. Ali, assalamu alaikum. Ammar, wa alaikum assalam. Ali, هذه سورة أسرتي. عمار ما شاء الله. من هذا? So now you look at the translation. For example, Assalamu alaikum. We have learned about it. Peace be upon you, and wa alaikum assalam, and peace be upon you too. Hadihi, we have learned about hadihi. This is basically demonstrative pronoun or ismul ishara, and we use it to point towards something that is near and that is feminine. Suratu usrati, this is a photo of my family. And then Ammar says, Masha Allah. That happens which Allah wills. So whenever you look at something that you like, then you always say mashallah about it. Man hada, we have also learned about man, that means who, and hada is used to point towards someone who is near and who is singular and who is masculine. So man هذا, who is this? جد, grandfather, and جدة, grandmother. علي هذا والدي عدنان وهو مهندس. عمار ومن هذه؟ علي هذه والدتي سعيدة وهي طبيبة. عمار ومن هذا؟ علي هذا أخي عيسى وهو طالب. عمار ومن هذه؟ علي هذه أختي عبلة وهي معلمة. وهذا جدي وهذه جدتي. عمار ما شاء الله. Now let's look at the translation. Ali, هذا والدي, this is my father, and Adnan is the name of the father. So هذا والدي Adnan, and this is my father Adnan. وهو مهندس, and he is an engineer. Wow means and, هو مهندس, he is an engineer. Ammar ومن هذه, and who is this? So when you point towards singular feminine, then we know that we use هذه. Ali هذه والدتي, this is my mother. Saida, and remember that with the names of the feminine we don't use the tanween, so we will say Saidatu وهي طبيبة, and she is a doctor. In the previous lesson we have learned about huwa and hiya. Ammar ومن هذا, and who is this? Ali هذا أخي, you know this, yeah, my, so it will be هذا أخي, this is my brother. Isa وهو طالب, and he is a student. Ali هذه أختي, this is my sister. Abla, so the name is Abla. وهي معلمة, and she is a teacher. وهذا جدي, and this is my grandfather. وهذه جدتي, and this is my grandmother. MashaAllah. As we have learned that whenever you look at something, you say, especially when you want to appreciate it, so you will say, MashaAllah. So now you have lots of vocab, lots of dialogues, and inshallah, I would like you to practice as much as you can so that you can become fluent in Arabic. Al-mufradatu, that means the vocab. Al-ardu, that means the presentation. Unzur wastami' wa'a'id. Suratun means a picture. Usratun, a family. Jaddun, grandfather. Jaddatun, grandmother. Muallimatun means lady teacher because it has ta marbuta. Talibun, that means a student. And then we have walidatun, that means mother, and walidun, that means father. Similarly, we use the words abun wa ummun, and similarly, we can use the word walidun wa walidatun. Tadrib, now we have some practice. Sil bain al kalimati. Now you have to connect between the word wasurati and the picture al munasibati, suitable. So now you have to connect between the picture and also between the word that are corresponding. So the first one is jaddatun. So for jaddatun, feminine. So we will have to make sure that when we talk about the feminine, it has ta marbuta, the rounded or the small ta. And then we have jaddun. So for the masculine, we will say jaddun. Similarly, we have usratun. So you will make an arrow for usratun for the family. As you can see, many members over there. And walidun, father, you will make an arrow over there. Similarly, we say muallimatun, and she has the book Al-Arabiyyatu Bayna Yadayk, Arabic in your access, and that's a lady, so she is a lady teacher. And suratun, that means a picture. Both of them are feminine, so both of them end with the rounded ta. Then we have walidatun, mother, as you can see over there in the picture, and talibun, that means a student. Al-usratu, al-hiwar al-thani, now we have dialogue 2. Umar, هل هذه شجرة? First, I would like you to repeat with me, and then we will look at the translation. هل هذه شجرة؟ عثمان: نعم، هذه أسرة الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم. عمر: صلى الله عليه وسلم. عثمان: هذا والده عبد الله. عمر: وهذه والدته آمنة. عثمان: وهذا جده عبد المطلب. عمر: وهذا عمه العباس. عثمان: وهذا عمه حمزة. Now let's look at the translation. هل هذه shajaratun. Hal, as we know, that means is, and we have learned about it that when we talk about question, that is basically yes no question. So if the answer is yes, you will say yes, and if the answer is no, you say no. هل هذه شجرة, is this a tree? عثمان نعم. هذه أسرة الرسول صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم, this is the family of Prophet, peace be upon him. Umar sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Now here lam has tashdid on it, and also here lam has tashdid on it. So when you read this, make sure that you read it properly. So you say sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and that means Allah's salutation. May Allah's salutation and peace be upon him. Uthman, hada waliduhu Abdullah. This is his father, Abdullah. So now you can see here the attached pronoun who, which refers to his father. So his father. So when you look at the translation, you can clearly relate that when you use the attached pronoun who, and that means it's used for his. Umar wa hadhihi walidatuhu Aminah. And so as you can see over here, who means his. For example, you say kitabuhu. For example, we have kitab plus who, so kitabuhu means his book. Wa hadhihi walidatuhu Aminah, and this is his mother, Aminah. And similarly, Uthman says, wa hadha jadduhu Abdul Muttalib, and this is his grandfather, Abdul Muttalib. Okay, now one more thing over here, related to our aqidah and religion. The name Abdul Muttalib is wrong, because Muttalib is not one of the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if it's not one of the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you cannot name someone like Abdul Sattar or something like this. Okay, so if that's the case, why can we not change it over here? It's because our Sheikh told us that in Arabic or in Arabic tradition, or we can say like even in our religion, if someone passes away, when someone dies, after his death, we cannot change his name. But if someone is alive and he has a wrong name for something like Abdul Sattar or something like, we have some names that are not, the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that is kind of shirk. So we have to make sure that we don't have such names. And if we have such names, we have to change those names. And here, why we have Abdul Muttalib? Because it was his name before he passed away. وهذا عمه العباس, and this is his uncle Abbas. Who means his. There are some Arabic names where we can add al with them, not all of them. This al doesn't mean that it was an indefinite noun, and when we added al, it became definite noun. It's not like that. Again, there are very few names in Arabic language where al is added to that, and this is called al-idafiya, extra al, no other reason. That like we have al-Hasanu, al-Husainu, similarly al-Abbasu. So this is not something extra. This is the part of the name. Uthman, wa hadha ammuhu Hamzatu, and this is his uncle Hamza. So again, ammuhu. Umar, wa hadha ammuhu Abu Talib. Uthman, wa hadhihi ammatuhu Safiyyah. Umar, wa hadha ibnuhu Al-Qasim. Uthman, wa hadha ibnuhu Abdullah. عمر وهذا ابنه إبراهيم. عثمان وهذه ابنته فاطمة. عمر وهذه ابنته رقية. عثمان وهذه ابنته زينب. عمر وهذه ابنته أم كلثوم. So I'm sure you are like repeating with me as well. Let's look at the translation. And this is his uncle Abu Talib. هذا, we have learned about it. And then we have ammuhu, that means his uncle, and the name of his uncle is Abu Talib. But when we say hada ammuhu, this is okay. But when we say Abu Talib, then this is there. If there is any ambiguity, for example, if a person has 4 or 5 uncles and you don't know which uncle you are talking about, so when you say hada ammuhu, for example, Hamza, so now it's clear that we are talking about his uncle Hamza. Uthman wa hadhihi ammatuhu Safiya, and this is his aunt Safiya. وهذا ابنه Al-Qasim, and this is his son Al-Qasim. If you remember, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is also called Abu Qasim, Al-Qasim. Uthman وهذا ابنه Abdullah, and this is his son Abdullah. وهذا ابنه Ibrahim, and this is his son Ibrahim. وهذه ابنته Fatima, and this is his daughter Fatima. وهذه ابنته رقية, and this is his daughter رقية. وهذه ابنته زينب, and this is his daughter Zainab. وهذه ابنته أم كلثوم, and this is his daughter كلثوم. So now you have a tree over here. You can have a look at the tree, and without looking at the translation, you can read and you can relate, as you can see over here. Al-Usratu, the family. Al-Mufradat, we have the vocab. Al-Ard, presentation. Unzur wastami' wa'a'id. Shajaratun, that means a tree. Adnan is the name, and then after that we say Ammun, that means uncle, and Ammatun, that means aunt. You know, most of the nouns in Arabic, when we have a masculine noun, only we add the rounded ta to that, and it becomes feminine. Similarly, we have Ibnun, that means son, and then we have Ibnatun, that means daughter. تدريب صل بين الكلمة والصورة المناسبة. Now we have to connect between the word and the appropriate picture. طيب, so if you look over here, we have, for example, Ammun, and Ammun is masculine, so I just draw the line by myself. So here, Ammun, this is masculine, so we will say Ammun is here, and Ammatun is over here, uncle and aunt. Similarly, we have Shajaratun, so this is the tree over here, and Suratun, that's the picture over here. Ibnun, as we can see in the picture, the boy, so we say Ibnun is over here, and Ibnatun, the girl or daughter. And similarly, we have Tabibatun, that means a doctor, as we can see over here, and Muallimatun, that means a teacher, lady teacher. انتهى الدرس اليوم الحمد لله. So today's lesson is finished. سنلتقي في الدرس القادم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.